Welcome to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch, the business connector to business in Brazil. Welcome to Talk to Brazil, the business connection, a leading business podcast talking about business in the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American from Pittsburgh, living in Brazil, known as the king of networking, and talking from Vinhedo in the state of São Paulo. Today's guest is Manca Korelc, and she's joining us from Ljubljana in Slovenia. Manca Korelc is a LinkedIn therapist, empowering B2B companies using profiles and pages to build brand. She's also helping persons lose the fear of posting on LinkedIn. And now Manca is the author of LinkedIn by the Book, everything you need to know before you dive into LinkedIn. So Manca, congratulations on the book, and welcome again to Talk to Brazil, the business connection. You've been here many times. We've talked about so many different things, and you're always out with something new, right?
Yeah, thank you for congratulations. Yeah, I'm so happy about this project. Yes, again, a project I'm really proud of. LinkedIn by the Book is a book I've been creating for less than a year. Mm-hmm. And it's something it was just a project that came onto my head just in a moment. And I have so many text, so many content written. This could be a book.
Right.
And so I really, I invested a lot of energy, time to really create a book that it's a handbook, right? It's a physical book, of course, but it's created for entrepreneurs, for managers of the companies, for LinkedIn pages, admins, for all the sales representatives in the companies, or all the people in marketing or HR departments. So it's really a handbook how to really start on LinkedIn and what are all the rules or best practices, how to do all the activities. And when you presented me, you said, yes, that my purpose on LinkedIn is to help people to lose the fear of posting.
Right.
And the biggest purpose of this book is to describe the LinkedIn environment. Mm-hmm. What is LinkedIn? What is the environment? We log in every time we click login, right? So I really intended to explain all different concepts of LinkedIn, from LinkedIn profile page to how to generate leads with LinkedIn, how to create content. It's one of the modules. It's about LinkedIn content, and it's really a long one because I inserted so many different best practices, how to create a plan for the content. So the purpose of the book is really to explain everything, so you lose the fear of posting because you understand all of it, right? By the end of reading this book, my goal is for the reader to understand how to do all the LinkedIn activities. And if you understand something, the fear can just disappear.
And to your point of best practices, I want to tell our audience, we know each other. We've known each other for almost 4 years now. And we've been... for our audience, we first met on a LinkedIn networking group in China, right?
Yes.
So here's Tom Reaoch in Brazil and Manca Korelc in Slovenia, and we met on a... we met on a group in China. So, that was global before the pandemic even came around. We were remote before that ever happened. And you were an expert in LinkedIn way back then. But if we take these 3-4 years that we've passed, you've evolved from being a consultant to a therapist. You've launched your own newsletter, which is full of fantastic information. Because even LinkedIn hasn't been stagnant. It has changed. And it changes and you're one to point out how fast and how much it has changed. So the practices also change.
They do, of course. And all the features, of course. LinkedIn has been evolving. I've been active for 7 years. I've been an expert for 4, but active for 7 years. And LinkedIn, it's like day and night in the last 7 years. But on the other hand, Tom, a lot of concepts, how to do it, how to understand LinkedIn environment, don't change. Right. And all of those, how to behave, what's the mindset? Like you said, for my newsletter, my mindset from my beginnings, from my humble beginnings on LinkedIn, has been to give, to be the one that is giving out value, and this adding value to all of our posts, all of our likes or comments, has been a good best practice that hasn't evolved. So this is something that's really constant on LinkedIn. So yes, my book is really about explaining the environment, explaining, of course, all the crucial features, not just all of the features, because they are so changing all the time. It's impossible to keep track with a physical book. But when you read it, you understand how to use the crucial features, the key elements on your page, on your profile, on your post. The entire module is about, like I said, like content. And I really do the anatomy of a great LinkedIn post. So you have a formula how to create a post. Over time, of course, it's easier for every content creator on LinkedIn. But for a start, you have all the technical elements. I explained the sentimental part of a post and so on. So it's really the focus of the book. It's being active and being consistent, and of course, understand the elements, understand the key concepts. So it's easier. If you understand the basic concepts of LinkedIn, when a new feature comes along, you know how to use it.
Right. That's true. And much of what you've incorporated is based on real life experience with your clients.
Yes, I did it. I'm so happy because I've been active as a trainer or as a therapist for almost 5 years, and I've been helping, I've been teaching a lot of clients that are based in Slovenia, but international as well. So I inserted in the book more than, I believe, 100 and more print screens from LinkedIn that are live examples of posts of different steps for LinkedIn page, for example, for different elements for LinkedIn profile, post, or even a comment, and so on. So it's really, when I talk about this is how you have to do it, well, here you have the example. Right, so it's easier. You don't even have to go on LinkedIn while you're reading the book. Yeah, of course you do. But yes, what I'm talking about, for example, about section of the LinkedIn profile, which is can be really complicated. But since my purpose is for everybody to understand how to do it, I give formula, I give live examples how to do it, and so it's really I get a lot of positive feedback. How it's easy to read, because it is a handbook, but I didn't want to be a complicated novel about LinkedIn, right? I want it to be easy to read, and my style is really conversational, so it's easier for reader to read the book, to follow the rules or all the best practices I write about, go to logging into LinkedIn at the same time and practice what I preach in the book.
Well, so, to the point, and your page is what you have done before, and it's in line with of helping companies build their brand. Many companies, and that's not only for large companies, small, medium-sized companies have come to the reality that they need a brand. They have to position themselves. It's not only on their technical competencies anymore. So if they don't have a brand, and even the CEOs, the owners, the founders of smaller companies are understanding that. And what you've done historically is teach them how to use that, because many of them were far away from the use, right?
Yes, and that is why I call myself a therapist, because a lot of times for some individuals in the companies, it's really hard for them to step out, to write a LinkedIn post and step up, because it can be challenging in the beginning. So yes, and like you said, the branding, to be known as a brand, as a company, is becoming more and more important for all the companies, not just the brand as what do we do and what do we sell. But for the employer branding, this is becoming really a big thing in Slovenia as well. And so inserted a special module in the book for the employer branding and advocacy with the LinkedIn as well, because it and COVID, I suppose, did some of the some of the things for the war for the talent, right? And a lot of
to track the talent, right?
Yeah, and it's really, LinkedIn is the best platform to showcase who you are, not as a company who sell things or produce or right, but who are as a people. And I teach all the time, look, LinkedIn page, for example, or LinkedIn profile with the LinkedIn content is an open gate to your company. Who are you as people behind the logo? Because, you know, people, business is people, right?
That's true. And well, everybody says that, but they don't always practice that.
Yeah, but this is LinkedIn language. This is how to translate the content. A lot of times company already has, but into the LinkedIn content. You showcase the people, you show the sentiment, you show the emotions.
Right.
I said it all the time, you don't have to talk about private life, but you do have to talk about your thoughts, your points of view, your can be about your mistakes, can be about your success. This is not bragging. A lot of people in Slovenia think that showcasing your success or an award or something like that means bragging. No, it's not. It's just a lot of times when I follow other people with a lot of success, it's really inspiring for me. Right. It's a mini competition we can have inside ourselves, but it's a positive competition, right?
Right, it is.
So I'm capable of that success as well. Let me try to have that success for myself as well, right? So this is not bragging. This is just
well, if you were from Texas, the people in Texas say they have bragging rights. And so, anytime you meet somebody from Texas, they start telling and saying all the best things about Texas. They just call that bragging rights. And that's a point. To that point is, how can a person or a company show its personality?
Of course.
And that's what is needed today, because we want to connect with personalities.
Yes, but if you want to, as a company, if you want to attract people, if you want to attract the best talent, of course, you need to show your people that work for you, right? You cannot attract new talent with presenting your products or services. It's impossible.
Well, we've seen that now post-pandemic in the United States and Europe and other places, the amount of workers who are quitting, they're leaving. They don't want to work for the company anymore. This transition back to hybrid or in office or whatever is creating a whole different scenario of what work is all about, what offering your service is all about.
Of course.
So you have a corporate personality, you have the person's personality, and somewhere they have to meet.
Yes, and it's been really challenging, I suppose, for all of the companies. But yes, how to attract, how to really show what are the values of the certain company, or let's say of the manager or the people, HR manager, and so what are the values, right? And you can position that on LinkedIn, of course, to really show, look, we are all about. This is our purpose. These are our values. Of course, you don't need to just list all the values. Show with all the events you conduct inside or with the internal communication and so on. So yes, it's becoming really important for individuals in the companies to have the courage to step outside, to not hide beside the logo, but to step outside, because everybody is the brand. If you are a sales representative, when you talk to the potential client, you are the brand, not the brand.
That's true.
First is you, right?
First is you.
This platform, digital, like LinkedIn platform, LinkedIn environment, it's all about this to present ourselves, not just with the bragging rights, right? but to really, LinkedIn is the best to position ourselves. Who are we as an expert? how to really use the platform, use the place to give the value to our potential clients, to our peers, to our colleagues, partners, and so on. So,
well, you come to the point that I speak a lot about in my work with networking. And one of the things with networking is part of that. You need to give more than you want to receive. Because generally when we're talking about networking, or when we're talking about a LinkedIn presence, people are either looking for a job or want clients. But there's so much more to networking. There's so much more to LinkedIn. And part of what you just said, beside the personality, it's a platform to show expertise as a company, as persons who work for you. And is that selling? Yes and no. But we're not out there always looking just for the client. We want to show who we are, how we are, and what we do.
Yes, and it's an investment in long term. In the book, I do a lot of comparisons with LinkedIn because it's easier to understand. It's being present consistently on LinkedIn. It's like the stamina for our body, the sports for our body. It's pretty much the same, right? If you go jogging one time, it doesn't do anything for your health. But if you keep on jogging, you will be healthy over time. And it's similar to presence on LinkedIn. With one single LinkedIn post, it won't do anything to your business. But if you are consistent over time, if you are giving value consistently over time, what happens is inbound marketing, right? So you are being found, and the people come to you because they see you as an expert. They don't see you as somebody who sells their products or services, because we don't want to do that, right? And you are the expert of networking. It's like going to a networking event. If you want to talk about yourself all the time with all of the people you meet there, everybody will run away from you. But if you keep on questioning,
that's true.
It's true. And it's the same with LinkedIn, right?
That's true.
In the book, I do a lot of comparisons. And in the last module, it's LinkedIn Extras. I call it because I do a lot of different comparisons, again, with Maslow's theory and so on, so the reader really understands what the LinkedIn is all about. Yes.
No, those are good comparisons, because as we say in networking, when you walk into a room full of people in the past, and that's going to come back, do you have to go around the room and present yourself? Or do you walk into the room and people come up to you and want to introduce themselves? And that's the same on LinkedIn. When you post or make a comment or a like, people can follow you. They can see you and then judge. Because leadership is also defined by followership. A leader without followers is not much of a leader. And people follow. I'm saying there could be followerless leaders, but generally speaking, we're following people that we understand that they have something to offer. And back to your point of giving and the receiving. And that could be opinions, that could be advice, that could be guidance, that can be anything. And that's also an integral part of LinkedIn. Who are the people that you follow? Who are the people who are out there who are experts, global experts? And I've done that. I'm very selective, and a lot of them. I said, I only learn from other people.
Yes.
How much have I learned from you over these years? Everything that you've said, and as much as you've put out even on your newsletters and now in your book, you anticipated so many things. This is one of the things I always enjoyed about receiving information from you. You were anticipating tendencies on LinkedIn. You were showing things before they happened. You knew they were going to happen. You said, well, this is coming. And this is, and that's good, but that's because you are the expert. You're following that.
Yeah, sure. It's my
job. And it was just taking what you said and applying it, and it would work. And I'm sure what you've done in your book is to take all of those tidbits and put it together. And I see you offer what you call the cool tools, right? So it's very hands-on.
Yes, in the last module of the book, there are 9 cool tools, which is again something that is really close to me to help people with some really concrete things, like how to create your own goals and how to set your KPIs. I inserted 101 ideas for the post because I understand the pain, I understand the challenge of my clients,
Right.
what to post, right? I inserted a table for content planning, so you can print that and you can set your own plan. Because even me, after 7 years of being constantly active on LinkedIn, I have a calendar, I
Right.
have a plan.
Right.
Because without a plan, it would be confusing, right? List of all the LinkedIn activities for weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly activities, and so on. All the digital tools I am using for being for easier activities on
Right.
digital and on LinkedIn environment. So 9 different and even for the LinkedIn policy template for the companies, because a lot of times people are not active. People in the companies are not active because they don't know what is right for their company, right? So it's really important for managers or HR managers, marketing managers, and so on, to have a template or to have some policy. It doesn't need to be a lot of pages. It can be 2 pages of what to do and what not to post about, what not to comment about. So this is
that's a good point. What not to say. That's true.
What not to say. Of course, I work with clients that have a long list of what not to do, but it's important for individuals to understand what's not appropriate for their company, right? So they need to understand what to do, what not to do. For each company, some of the things are, of course, the same, but for some companies, they have more strict rules, and the individuals who want to be active on LinkedIn need to understand that. So the company needs to provide this policy, what's appropriate for them. And I give them the template in the book. So it's really my purpose to help, how to start, how to help. What is the biggest challenge besides what to post? It's how to motivate employees to be active.
Right.
And I give a really
create
easy,
a group mindset, right? Because actually the personality of a company doesn't come from one person, it comes from everybody.
Yes, but mindset, it's not a tangible thing. What we need to do for success on LinkedIn, something tangible. So having a monthly diary meetings, I call them in the book, to talk about what is happening in the company, what can we post about, because a lot of stories are untold.
That's true. That's
in
true.
The offices, right? So why don't talk about that stories? But we need to plan the time when we invest for talking about their stories, and to talk to write all that stories and to decide what goes to the LinkedIn page, for example. So this is I inserted a lot of tangible tools in the book so they can really start. Because when we talk about mindset and so on, what we should do, it's something that we hear and forget. But when we have tools on digital on our computers, it's easier for us to start. So yes, another purpose of my book to provide some tangible tools in order to really use and start.
Well,
being
to start is basically just open up the first page and go, right?
Yes, of course. But it's easier if you have the plan and all the plan for KPIs, for what to post and so on. So we need to have all the tools. It gets easier over time, of course, but for the start can be really daunting, and it helps if you have some
if you have if you have the handbook. So
yes, in my book is.
Well, Manca, I want to thank you again for sharing your time. I want to congratulate you for this
Thank
project, which is fantastic. It's in line with what you have been doing, and sharing your best practices, sharing your real life practical experience with clients. Without a doubt, that's going to be as helpful as everything else you've already done. So do recommend for our listeners to find you, to get the book, get their hands around
Yes.
it. Follow your newsletter as well. Follow you on LinkedIn, because there's always a treasure of information to get from you.
Thank you. Yes, the book is in English language. So yes, you can find it on my website, mancakorelc.com. I'm sure you will insert the link,
Right.
and they can buy it via my website. So it's easy with the credit card.
Very good. So thanks again. All right.
Thank you, Tom, for having me again. It's been a pleasure as always.
My pleasure. And for our audience, again, you can find more about Manca Korelc, and her name is Manca, M-A-N-C-A. The last name is K-O-R-E-L-C. So it's mancakorelc.com. So you'll find information about her on LinkedIn. You'll find information about the book, more information about her. You also find the other book that she's written about lakes. So that's another whole enjoyable experience, okay? So thank our audience for being here, and our sponsor, Focus MI Market Intelligence. Focus MI specializes in market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. More about them on their website, www.focusmi.com. Talk to Brazil podcast can be found on all major podcast platforms. Remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.